I had a psychotic break and killed my wife. Those were the words calmly spoken into a 999 call by 27-year-old postman Euan Methan. 2 days after brutally murdering and decapitating his 21-year-old girlfriend, Phoenix Spencer Horn. In the hours before her death, Phoenix had texted her mother like any other night, telling her she and Euan were home, eating dinner. What her mother didn't know was that hours later, those same hands that held her daughter in love would end her life in unimaginable violence. Today, we're uncovering the chilling story of Phoenix Spencer Horn, a kind, radiant young woman whose compassion lifted others, but who couldn't see the darkness growing beside her. This is not just a story about murder. It's a story about control, deception, and a love that became fatal. Hi everyone, and welcome back to Criminology Insights. Today's case takes us to East Kilbride, Scotland, where the murder of 21-year-old Phoenix Spencer Horn shocked an entire nation. To the outside world, Phoenix and her boyfriend, Euan Methan, seemed like the perfect couple, young, hardworking, and building a life together. But behind closed doors, small cracks were beginning to show. The kind that start quietly, with words of concern, and end in unspeakable violence. Phoenix, known affectionately as Fee, was the kind of person whose name perfectly matched her spirit. She had a gift for helping others, for lifting people through their darkest moments. Her friend Grace McCabe, later a Miss Scotland 2024 finalist, would say, "Phoenix consistently reached out, supported me through the hardest times. I wish she got all the happiness and success I knew was out there for her." At just 21, Phoenix juggled multiple jobs, waitressing at the Strathaven Hotel, working in local coffee shops, always described by co-workers as cheerful and full of light. She was standing at the threshold of what should have been a long, beautiful life. Phoenix met Euan Methan, a 27-year-old postman for Royal Mail, at a family gathering. Their connection felt natural, even destined. To Phoenix's family, Euan seemed perfect, polite, respectful, dependable. He was welcomed into the Spencer family as one of their own. Phoenix's mother, Alison Spencer, even texted Euan regularly. She thought he loved her daughter sincerely. But over time, subtle shifts began. Euan started complaining about Phoenix's late work shifts, saying he felt lonely when she worked weekends. At first, Phoenix thought it was sweet, a boyfriend who missed her. But soon his loneliness turned into guilt-tripping. Every shift became an argument. Phoenix, ever the empath, apologized, adjusted her schedule, and tried harder to keep him happy, not realizing she was being conditioned to feel guilty for her independence. It's a cycle many victims of control recognize too late. "I'm not asking you to stop working," becomes, "I hate that you're never here," until one person's freedom quietly disappears. Saturday, November 16, 2024, began like any other day. Phoenix went to work at the Strathaven Hotel, smiling as always, chatting with regulars. Her co-workers noticed nothing unusual. She was her usual radiant self. Euan finished his postal route and told a colleague he was going home to chill. It sounded perfectly normal. But hours later, those words would echo with a chilling irony. That afternoon, Euan texted Phoenix. He said he felt lonely again, that her shifts made him feel forgotten. There was something darker in his tone this time. Something Phoenix may have felt but couldn't name. True to her nature, she apologized, promising she'd be home soon. At 8 p.m., Euan ordered takeaway. When the delivery driver arrived, he later told police that Euan seemed perfectly normal, calm, sober, polite. At 9:37 p.m., Phoenix texted her mother for the last time. "We're just having dinner at home." It would be the final message Alison Spencer ever received from her daughter. Sometime around midnight, neighbors below heard loud noises, hurried footsteps, muffled thuds, followed by silence. What they were hearing was Phoenix fighting for her life. Euan had launched a brutal attack, using 3 different knives. He stabbed Phoenix 20 times, 10 of those wounds aimed at her face. The fatal wound pierced her chest, deep enough to end her life. But it didn't end there. He strangled her with his hands, compressing her neck as she struggled, her body covered in defensive wounds. Pathologists later determined the attack began in the bathroom, moving through multiple rooms, as Phoenix desperately tried to escape. Blood patterns told the story. She had fought, she had tried to live. Her smartwatch's movement tracker spiked around midnight, a silent witness confirming the chaos. By the time the apartment fell silent, Phoenix Spencer Horn, a young woman who had only ever spread kindness, was gone. What Euan did next was beyond comprehension. Instead of calling for help, he mutilated Phoenix's body, decapitating her with the same knives he'd used to kill her. He attempted to dismember her further, removing her limbs and torso. Prosecutors later said it was an attempt to defeat the ends of justice. He hid her remains under a towel in the hallway, her body left in the home they had shared. At 2:40 a.m., while her mutilated body lay just meters away, Euan began texting drug dealers, trying to buy cocaine. Over the next 2 days he would send more messages, and spend over 10 hours viewing pornography online, while Phoenix's remains lay hidden. The next morning Phoenix's mother, Allison, texted her daughter. No answer. Hours later, she received a message that seemed perfectly normal. Hey, Fee isn't up yet. I'll get her to text you when she is. But it wasn't Phoenix. It was her killer, using her phone mimicking her tone, even adding the affectionate X her daughter always used. Later, another text. Hey, sorry, I've just woken up. XXX. For 2 days, Allison believed her daughter was alive, replying to messages written by the man who had murdered her. Meanwhile, Euan drove around East Kilbride in Phoenix's red Vauxhall Corsa, still trying to score drugs. He even returned home each night to the flat where her body still lay hidden under that towel. By Monday, November 18th, Phoenix was due at work. When she didn't show up, her colleagues immediately grew alarmed. Phoenix was never late, never unreliable. That same day, the pressure finally broke. At 12 p.m., Euan dialed 999. I had a psychotic break and killed my wife, he said calmly. It was horrible. I've been out my face. I can't remember what happened. He claimed he'd been using steroids and cocaine, trying to excuse the unexcusable. When police arrived, nothing could prepare them for what they found. Phoenix's decapitated body, hidden under a towel. Blood across multiple rooms. Knives on the floor. Euan was eerily calm as he told officers, I couldn't stay here with her like that. I tried to dismember her. These weren't the words of a man in psychosis. They were the words of someone trying to destroy evidence. As investigators combed through the evidence, Euan's lies fell apart. His drug purchases, phone activity, porn searches, and the fake texts all showed he was fully aware of his actions. The delivery driver confirmed he was sober that night. Digital tracking confirmed his movements matched the timeline of the murder. Every shred of evidence pointed to control, calculation, and deliberate violence. In court he claimed remorse. He wrote to Phoenix's family, I know how loved Phoenix was. I can't believe I've taken her from them. But Judge Lord Matthews wasn't convinced. He said, this letter answers none of the questions plaguing this family. On July 14, 2025, Euan Methan was sentenced to life imprisonment, with a minimum of 23 years before parole. For Phoenix's mother, Allison, the grief is endless, not only for the loss of her daughter, but for the betrayal by someone she once trusted as family. In the wake of the tragedy, the Spencer family raised thousands of pounds for Women's Aid Scotland, turning pain into purpose. The organization said, her name, Phoenix, now stands for more than loss. It stands for action, for change, for refusing to let her story end in silence. This is what it means to rise from the ashes. Phoenix was just 21 years old, bright, kind, compassionate. Her killer may one day walk free at 50, but her family's life sentence will never end. Still, her light continues. Through those she helped, through the awareness her story brings, through every woman now safer because her name will never be forgotten. Because Phoenix Spencer Horn will always be more than how she died. She'll be remembered for how she lived, with kindness, strength, and fire. If you found this story important, please share it. If you or someone you know is in a controlling relationship, reach out to local women's aid or domestic violence services. Your story matters, and help is out there. Until next time, stay safe, stay aware, and thank you for watching Criminology Insights.